G'day there guys, my name's Marky and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. I do hope you enjoyed today's episode. And with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, let's get right into it. In 5 days I'm coming clean, and it will probably end my marriage. So I've been married to my husband for nearly 17 years, together for 20. I knew that prior to our relationship he struggled with money issues, and it's a huge trigger for him. So what did I manage to do? Take over bills a couple of years ago and completely messed it up. Credit card debt, juggling zero-interest cards, all that jazz. My credit has been on a slow and steady decline. I've been trying to keep things out of his name so his credit is okay. I have so much guilt and shame. I was so stupid to let it happen. I used shopping, expensive hobbies, and poor financial habits as a way to cover up my anxiety and depression. I lost my mum, we've had a lot of medical debt, travel for my mum and medical reasons, etc. None of those things are excuses for lying to him though. I am so overwhelmed and guilty, he has no idea. On Friday, we're going to sit down and review the finances while our kids are at school, and I'm going to come clean. I have no idea how he's going to react. It might be bad. High divorce. But even best case scenario, he is never going to trust me again, and I don't deserve his trust. He didn't deserve any of this. I have totally betrayed his trust, and it keeps me up at night. Part of me is ready to come clean and be honest. The other cowardly part of me wants to keep up the charade. I'm finally going to be brave and be honest. I feel sick. In the comments, the slow crawl into crippling debt is easier to do than some people realize. Corporations restructure and file bankruptcy all the time. There's no shame in it, just learn from it. You can file bankruptcy just for yourself, and if the majority, if not all the debt is in your name, it won't affect your spouse. I would suggest coming clean after speaking with a bankruptcy attorney. There is a way out of this, and only you have to pay the price, not your spouse. I did this a couple of years ago. My wife's credit was untouched, and mine is already back up to just under 700. Be honest, be strong, do what the attorney says to protect any assets you do not wish to liquidate, and the next thing you know, it'll be a bad memory. Most importantly, do not do it again. I second this. When my business collapsed during the financial crash of 2008, I had no income and a big mortgage. Long story short, I got into about $30,000 of debt. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, and I couldn't think straight due to the stress. I had a meeting with my accountant, and she advised bankruptcy and explained all the benefits of bankruptcy to me. I went ahead with it and breathed a huge sigh of relief. No regrets whatsoever. The vibe I'm getting from those comments is like, shit's gonna crash and burn, but it's okay. He might still stay with you after all of this. I feel like you being a complete wreck is like warranted in this situation because that's a really, really bad thing to kind of keep from your husband for this long. That's a terribly bad thing to just put your family into. I don't know. Bankruptcy is not the end of the world, but I don't know if your relationship is going to bounce back from this one. I would feel very much betrayed if my partner did this to me and our kids. I wish you all the best of luck, OP. And now, onto the update, 8 days later. First, thank you to everyone that replied and messaged. I read every single one. I appreciated the hopeful comments and identified with the harsh ones. I'm no angel in this story. So some extra info. My husband has a very high-intensity job and travels frequently. I took over the bills so nothing would get lost in the shuffle when he was away from home and he could focus on what needed to be focused on. Insert joke here, right? I was a complete wreck last week. I barely slept, was physically anxious, and was both absolutely dreading Friday, but couldn't wait for it to just get here already. Fortunately, my husband was on a work trip and my kids were busy with basketball, friends, theater, etc., and were barely home. I barely ate and lost like 3 pounds that I've been stuck on. Not recommended for a diet plan. On Friday, we plan to each work a half day and then have some lunch and look at our budget for the year. Tax returns were pretty decent, and my husband got a good annual bonus, so it made sense to see what was what. He was already talking about throwing some in a CD or investment, and I just felt ill. Friday comes, and he comes home with In-N-Out and a chocolate shake for me, and I just lost it. Full-on sobbing. It freaked the hell out of him, and it took me like 10 minutes to get myself under control. Then I spilled it all. I started with, "I love you, and I'm sorry," and just let fly. That wasn't my plan. I had a whole thing written down to make sure I didn't miss anything, and it didn't matter at all. To his incredible credit, he just sat there in shock and listened. Then he definitely underreacted and went directly to "we'll fix it together" mode. He wanted some time to absorb what I'd said, and then wanted to work through our accounts one by one to see what was actually up, and he wanted to do this alone. Then we would come up with a plan. I let him be and just did some cleaning and laundry. After maybe 45 minutes, I heard him leave the house with the door slam. I wasn't about to chase him down after he asked for space to process. I did look at the computer, and it was a list of all our outstanding balances. To everyone guessing the figures, here you go. I assumed it would be $60K based on my rough math, but I had forgotten a couple that I had on autopay. $96,000 in debt that he had no idea about. He messaged me a while later that he was going to stay by his mum for the night and would be back to pack a bag, and that he would rather not talk yet. I respected that and made myself scarce. He came home the next day, and we manufactured some time alone to talk by sending the kids out to run errands. The oldest can drive and loves any excuse. The heart-to-heart was basically this: I fucked up royally here, but he shouldn't have checked out completely and let it get to this point. He's going to take over our finances. We're going to do a HELOC, or second mortgage, for all of the recurring stuff and buckle down hard. We will review everything together at least twice a month. We will do marriage counseling together. I agree to absolutely every term and condition. I honestly thought that he wasn't going to come back. Things are chilly at best right now, and I am so desperately sorry and sick over the hurt that I caused. At the same time, there is a deep sense of relief that, whatever happens, I am no longer lying about it and everything is out in the open. Maybe he'll still decide that he can't move on, but I'm going to own whatever happens. In the comments, Taylor5 says, "The best solution to solving this together is full transparency and showing that you are committed to actively attacking this debt, so if you don't currently work, get a job. Also, I don't know if you can do it in your country, but in mine, I can link banking apps to send notifications whenever there is a transaction. You can set it up to go to you both, so you can both monitor each other. This is a joint situation and will build back trust, but $96K? Wow. Do you even have anything to show for that? How did you manage to keep getting credit? That is insane." ZombiePants7 says, "OP, you also probably should look into therapy or a shopping addiction group. Almost $100,000 in debt is like gambling addiction levels of having a problem. Good luck though. I hope you two work it out and find a way forward. You might also consider picking up some additional income to work down the debt." Step Apparent says, "Agreed. I did this a few years ago and am still fighting the urges that go along with it. There is a deeper problem to solve. I've tried several therapists, but a group would be awesome. I just had a hard time finding anything near me or online." Random Shit Talking says, quote, "The heart-to-heart was basically this: I fucked up royally here, but he shouldn't have checked out completely and let it get to this point." Nah, you're not going to blame him for not paying attention. OP says, "Those were his words. The blame is on me here. I feel like I've been pretty transparent about that. This is where he landed on it. I don't think I could even try to spend $100K in a few years on shopping." She said there was also medical debt from her mother, plus, once there's a big chunk, the late fees and interest create a rolling snowball monster. Yup, I've always pictured interest like a slowly filling bathtub. At first it's fine because it's just a few drops coming out of the faucet, but every month somebody turns the faucet a little more, and if you don't do anything at all to stop it, your house gets flooded. I'm glad they can work it out together in this one, but if they're a low-income couple, even with combined finances, it might still be best for her to take on some bankruptcy here and not sink him as well. I'm an idiot and don't understand the full scope of the situation, but I'm glad they're doing it the way they're doing it at least. It avoids bankruptcy, and bankruptcy bad, but $96,000 in debt, also pretty bad. But you know what? There's a lot of downsides that come with bankruptcy, and I absolutely respect people doing everything they can possible before doing that. Again, I'm an idiot, I know. I think OP's husband had a reasonable reaction to finding out just how much debt they're in and how much she kept from him. I'm glad that she is being transparent as well and working to fix this. I hope they fix it together and they can bring their relationship back to a stable place. But by golly, that looks like a hard one. Our next post is by user Throwaway Onion Rings 2, titled, "Am I the asshole for abandoning my wheelchair-bound best friend in a mall parking lot? I've been friends with A for about 11 years. 3 years ago, she was involved in a car accident which left her wheelchair-bound. I'm 16 now, and I've been her best friend since I was 5. Her crash was a rough time for me personally as well. Of course, not as rough as hers, since my friend was in a car crash and I just lost my dog. But I put her in front of losing my dog, even though 13-year-old me was wrecked, and tried my best to be her rock while she was in tough times. After she got better, we hung out and it was the same as before. Just that as time went on, I felt like the power balance wasn't equal anymore. I was always taking care of her, and everything had to go her way. To an extent, I was okay with this since I couldn't fathom going through what she was going through, so I kept my mouth shut and was there for her. Every phone call, every text, every "can you do this for me?" I did it. But at one point, I found that I held some resentment towards her, and this grew as everyone around me just expected me to take care of her. I couldn't do certain things because it reminded her of when she could walk, and I couldn't hang out with other people because she felt like she was losing me. I had to get up whenever she wanted something, pick up whatever food she ordered, tie her shoelaces, carry her bags around, walk her dog, take her things to class, and so on. Whenever I complained or tried to vent, I was always hit with the, "But imagine what she's going through. Poor thing." And so, the resentment grew and grew. This blew up yesterday. Yesterday, we were at the mall picking things out, even though because of my asthma, I really didn't want to go out, and she got caught with some unpaid clothes in her bag. She just blamed me in front of everyone in the store, and only when the security camera showed her putting something in her bag, she admitted to lying. I was furious, and after I called a car for her, I told her to stay away from me and find someone else to take care of your lazy ass since I'm not your fucking mum, and left her in the surprisingly well-lit parking lot. Her mother, who was absent through a lot of this time due to God knows what, phoned my mother saying that I broke her daughter's heart and abandoned her in a car park. And everyone except for my dad is telling me that I crossed a line and put her in danger and to put myself in her shoes. Everyone's telling me that I'm not a true friend and that I am selfish. It's kind of getting in my head, and I don't know if I'm right as I thought I was. Sorry about how long this is, that's what he said. This was about 2.5 years worth of venting, but am I the asshole? In the comments, Farts Live in My Butt says, "Info. Why didn't the store call the police or her parents? It seems really strange they would go to the trouble of reviewing security footage to verify who shoplifted and then just let her go." OP replies, "Yeah, sorry about the unclear phrasing. So I'll answer this because a lot of these questions are here in my chat. We weren't there to steal or anything. I was picking out some clothes, like to buy them. I said, got caught with unpaid clothes because I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt since it could have been an accident, but then she blamed me, so yeah. I called her a car since she was my friend for almost all of my life, and it was my job for a lot of our relationship, so I did it. Also, I had the car's phone number on the top of my list, so it was just more convenient. She cried about her trauma and everything she went through, and the manager looked kinda scared to press her into anything, so he just warned her and let her go. I mean, it's hard to arrest a teen girl crying about her legitimately horrifying accident for stealing a couple of shirts. I feel a bit bad for him since he looked absolutely lost. Farts in my butt replies, so why did they even look at the footage? Were they going to press charges if you were the one who did the shoplifting? And OP says, probably, but they did mainly because I caused a scene, and if I really did steal it and put someone else, especially someone vulnerable, in a situation like this, then the crime is a lot worse than just shoplifting, which I did not do, which then I would be pressed with charges. Damn, crazy how you can ruin a friendship that is so beneficial for you with one fell swoop like this. What a psychopath! Blaming OP for stealing the clothes and then being like, well, she's obviously taking advantage of a mentally messed up, physically disabled woman. Yeah, I could never do this. Don't look at the tapes though. And after some arguments with friends recently, I can understand why so many people would say OP crossed a line and put her in danger. A lot of people, even when told the truth about a situation like this, probably just don't want to believe you. You could give them all the evidence in the world that you were hard done by, that the other woman in this situation actually put you in a situation, and they'd still be like, well, it just sounds like an evil thing that you did, and I'm willing to believe it. I like them more than I like you. Sorry, that's a bit of projection by me, absolutely, and I hope that other people don't have to deal with similar situations like this, because certainly sounds like OP's having everyone in their life take the perpetrator's side here. I think, in a perfect world, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. But no one wants to give OP the benefit of the doubt. You're not the asshole here, OP. I'm gonna give you the benefit. It's time for you to start blocking out the haters. And now, onto the update, posted the next day. I didn't expect this much attention, so this was very much unexpected. Thank you guys for being so nice to me and for giving me advice. I really appreciate it. 1. Sorry about the term wheelchair bound. I didn't know that was offensive, and I never really talked to her about her wheelchair. Sensitive topic for her, and I didn't want to push, so I never really learned the correct terminology. I can't change the title, but I'm sorry. Yeah, my resentment kind of started with my dog being forgotten. While it's nothing to what she went through, I really liked the dog, and I had to bury him myself, which started my unjustified and immature resentment. I don't think it was unjustified or immature personally, but hey. I was mad, so no one even talked about the dog. Totally petty, but honestly, that is what started it. 3. I never really resolved my resentment, which is my bad, because in the place that I live, it's horrible for people with disabilities. As I accompanied her in her life, it gave me some insight on how hard life was for people who couldn't walk, and so my resentment would be suppressed with this feeling of gratefulness for my ableness. And 4, I left her in the exit of the parking lot, and there were glass doors to the outside. She had her phone, which she could use to call her mother. I don't know if she did though, and there was security in yelling reach. Also, she could move around still. It wasn't great leaving her like that, it wasn't cool, and I could well have hurt her. Also, for those wondering, the car was the car that we took to get to the mall, so we knew the driver and it fit her wheelchair. On what I did. So I told my parents the full story. My mother was fuming when she called A's parents, and they said they would talk to her. I also called everyone who was against me so I could tell them the full story without having to be mean and unnecessarily public. Most of them quickly gave me the not the asshole. I called her too and told her leaving her in the parking lot was wrong, but I wouldn't apologize for it as I could not forgive her for what she did. I told her to take care of herself from now on and that I wouldn't be her friend anymore. My dad got me a new dog, and my parents hosted a real burial for my last dog. Just us 3 because of the pandemic, but it helped me a lot. My dad told me he was proud of me for doing what I did and told me about boundaries and how important they were. In all honesty, I'm sort of glad this happened so I wouldn't have been with her longer. I learned a lot about boundaries, toxic friendships, and how to talk about my emotions. Thank you guys for being so supportive. I really didn't expect this many people to read this, so thank you. I'm not friends with her anymore, but I have got my dog, so it's fine. In the comments, Boring History fan says, OP's friend is bad enough, but what kind of shit-stained parents make their adolescent child bury the family pet alone? What kind of shit-stained parents see their kids being subsumed and sucked into being a caretaker for a peer and don't step in? OP wasn't allowed to do things because it reminded the friend of what she lost, and the parents didn't help her create space for her own needs. Poor kid. It's often not anyone's plan. It just happens, and then it keeps happening because it's easier to just assume that everyone's good with it when the OP of the situation doesn't specifically object. Of course, doing so also becomes black mark. Everyone was assuming, and no one likes to have to stop that and engage actual thoughts and uncomfortable feelings. We're so proud of our daughter, the way she helps out her poor friend. She's such a good person. And since OP never dared to complain, nobody ever thought about whether she was actually doing it out of her own free will. At the end of the day, this is a learning experience for everyone, and for OP, I hope it's a way for them to recognize when they're being taken advantage of by friends, and to not allow this to continue. And also to be able to stand up for themselves further when having false accusations against themselves. It sucks, but sometimes we need to go through hard times to get back to the good times. So thank you for the story, OP. I think you handled this amazingly well. I think A is a shit person and needs to learn from this, because I feel like they were more than aware of what they were doing and, continuously guilt-tripping you and making you feel bad about something that is not your fault and should not be your responsibility. Thank you for the story. Anyway guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!